The airport was a cacophony of flashing lights, frantic shouts, and the palpable energy of thousands of armies who had gathered to catch a glimpse of their idols. BTS, the global superstars, moved through the throng with a practiced calm, a fleet of security personnel forming a protective shield around them. All 7 members were present, but the eyes of the world were particularly fixed on the Magne line, the trio whose bond has always been a source of fascination and adoration. Jungkook, usually reserved in such chaotic public settings, walked with his head down, his cap pulled low, focusing on the path ahead. Jimin, beside him, offered his signature gentle smiles to the fans, his eyes crinkling even as he maintained his pace. Taehyung, the enigmatic artist, seemed to be in his own world, his expression unreadable behind his stylish sunglasses. The atmosphere was electric, a typical high-octane airport send-off, until a sudden shift occurred that would be replayed and analyzed for weeks to come. It was Jungkook who initiated the movement, a slight hesitation in his step before he turned fully towards Jimin. The noise seemed to fade for a moment as Jungkook, disregarding the hundreds of cameras, opened his arms. Jimin, looking slightly surprised but understanding, did not hesitate for a second and stepped into the embrace. It wasn't a casual, one-armed hug, it was a full, deep, and seemingly heartfelt embrace, Jungkook's arms wrapping tightly around Jimin's smaller frame. Jungkook's face was buried in Jimin's shoulder, his posture speaking of a profound emotion that words could not capture in that public space. Jimin's hands came up to pat Jungkook's back gently, a gesture of comfort and reciprocation, his own eyes closing for a brief second. The crowd of armies let out a collective, simultaneous gasp that was almost louder than their previous cheers. Cameras clicked furiously, capturing every millisecond of this unexpected, intimate moment between the two brothers. Whispers rippled through the crowd, questions flying about what could have prompted such a public display of affection from the usually reserved Jungkook. The other members glanced over, their expressions a mix of soft understanding and slight concern, sensing the weight of the moment. It was then that the camera lenses, ever searching, panned to the side and found Taehyung. V, who had been walking a few steps ahead, had stopped and was watching the scene unfold. His sunglasses were now in his hand, and there, in plain view for the world to see, tears were streaming down his face. They were not quiet, hidden tears, they were a silent cascade of emotion, his handsome features contorted with a raw, unfiltered sadness. He made no move to wipe them away, seemingly unaware or unconcerned that he was crying in front of thousands of people. The sight was utterly heartbreaking, a stark contrast to the joyful chaos of an airport farewell. Armies watching through live streams on their phones felt their own hearts clench, the digital distance doing nothing to lessen the impact of his tears. The question on everyone's mind was a simple, painful one: why was Taehyung crying? Was he moved by the display of affection between his two best friends, his brothers in everything but blood? Or was his tears stemming from a place of personal pain, a private sorrow that was suddenly overflowing in this public moment? Perhaps the hug between Jungkook and Jimin was a gesture of support, a pillar of strength before an impending challenge or separation. The theories began to explode across social media platforms within seconds of the event. Jungkook and Jimin's hug was so powerful it moved Taehyung to tears, one fan would later tweet, their post going viral. Another would theorize, Taehyung is crying because he understands the weight of why they're hugging. He feels their emotion as his own. The image of the three of them in that single frame, Jungkook and Jimin locked in a soulful embrace, and Taehyung watching them, weeping, became an instant iconic moment in BTS history. It was a tableau of brotherhood, love, and vulnerability that was rarely displayed so openly on the global stage. As quickly as it began, the moment dissolved, the hug ended, and the members were ushered forward by their staff. Jungkook gave Jimin's shoulder a final, firm squeeze before turning back to the path, his own expression now more resolute. Jimin glanced towards Taehyung, his eyes filled with a deep, knowing concern, a silent communication passing between them. Taehyung, finally seeming to register his surroundings, quickly wiped his tears with the back of his hand and replaced his sunglasses, a shield going back up. But the damage was done, the world had seen his heart, raw and exposed. The rest of their walk through the airport was subdued, the members sticking closer together than before. The fans, now quieter, offered supportive shouts and words of love, their energy shifting from excitement to a protective, empathetic warmth. Online, the ARMY fandom was in a state of collective shock and concern, prioritizing the well-being of the members above all else. Hashtags like #WeLoveYou-Taehyung and #StayStrongBTS began trending worldwide, filled with messages of support and love. Analysts and fans alike dissected the brief, powerful interaction, looking for clues in the members' recent schedules, lyrics, and Weaver's posts. The incident highlighted the immense pressure and emotional toll that life in the spotlight can take, even on the strongest of individuals. It was a stark reminder that behind the glamour, the awards, and the records, BTS are 7 young men who feel things deeply and lean on each other. The embrace was not just a hug, it was a fortress, a promise of solidarity in the face of unseen battles. Taehyung's tears were not just tears, they were a testament to the depth of their bond, an empathy so profound he felt their joys and sorrows as his own. While the exact reason for the emotional outburst remained a private matter among the members, its message was crystal clear to ARMY. The love within Bangtan Sonyeondan is real, complex, and powerful enough to break down public facades in the most unexpected moments. And in that stunned silence at the airport, amidst the confusion and concern, ARMYs understood once again why they love these 7 souls so fiercely, for their humanity shines brighter than any spotlight.